So I want to just address, and I know a lot of people have talked about it, and it's a long-winded kind of. We could go into long details and long discussions about it, but in the shortest possible sense, in my view, and the way I've seen it, because I've seen it for a long time, and looked at it and seen it happening. The reason why so many people are upset, particularly with members of the Oireachtas and the local councillors, is because the majority of concerns nowadays people have about different issues, particularly now we see with the hate speech legislation, an exponential threat to the foundation of our state, the foundation of freedom. The TDs and senators are refusing to engage with people. Simple as that. They're just pushing them to one side and trying to forget about them and ignoring phone calls, videos, emails, etc., letters. They just refuse to engage. So they basically just pretend that it doesn't exist. And that's, that doesn't help things. So what I'm trying to say is here, the TDs and senators, in the majority of cases, are bringing it upon themselves why they're getting so much hate and upset, and why Irish political society is the way it is at the moment. Because simply, to put it straight, the politicians don't care. First of all, they simply don't give a shit about the ordinary Joe and what they think. They think they're all superior and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, who do they serve? They're supposed to serve us. We vote them in. We give them the power to serve us. But obviously the power goes to their head, and they think they're untouchable, that they're accountable to nobody. But it's simple as this, that's the reason why people are upset. And we see with many particularly what we see at the moment, people being bussed in the middle of the night to places, and people being fucked into every place in the country. And then no engagement with the community, then calling everybody far right and extremist. You wonder why people are upset with the politicians and are very angry, which is understandable why people are angry. As I say, you see what the government have done the last few years. You can understand why the tension and anger builds and builds and builds and builds, because it never is addressed by the government. They just kind of push it to one side and call everybody far right and extremist and hope it goes away, and hope the media covers it up for them and quiets people down. But that's not working out very well for them. So, they kind of had a crossroads here. But of course, no politician should receive death threats. Of course, that goes without saying, to their family or to themselves. That goes without saying. Whatever you have, political opinion, your political beliefs and stuff, even if it's something that you disagree with immensely on different topics, I don't think we should threaten people. Nobody should threaten anybody's life. That is a crime, obviously. We shouldn't do that. But it is important that they know that you're angry and that you're upset with what they're doing. Because obviously they're supposed to represent the public. And they only pick and choose what they want to talk about and what they want to say. And then just ignore the rest, whatever they don't want to hear. Which doesn't go. It's simple as that. In democracy, that doesn't go. You have to listen to everybody. As I say, I always plan to go for the council election here in Cavan. And even though I know they would call me far right, extremist, etc., far right politician, I would still represent everybody, even the most leftist radical person. I would still kind of listen to them, even though I would think it's half the stuff they're probably saying is dribble. I would still give them the decency to listen to them, even though I would disagree with them immensely. But that's what democracy is all about. Yeah, your public right, but even if you have a debate with someone, even if you disagree immensely with someone, you debate them, you question their beliefs, you question how they got this narrative or whatever. Take for example someone that's extreme far left, they want no borders and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, in a nice way, but in general, how are we supposed to stop people who are coming from a radical country? Take for example Afghanistan with the Taliban there. People can just randomly walk into Ireland with AK-47s and stuff like that. How do you suppose that's going to work? Just asking the question, what if these people do come? Because if you open your border, like Ireland's border is already open, but just to humour somebody, if I was a TD or a senator or a council, you would have to, and obviously they wouldn't be able to answer you, to be totally honest, because they're just like, oh yeah, open borders for socialism, communism, hell yeah, we're not taking the consequences, we're not looking what Stalin and Mao Zedong done, but anyway, we'll not go there, because to be just an absolute uproar. But you get what I'm saying. But it's just, we've seen this time and time again. It's just politicians just refuse to engage with the public, and that's why there's so much public discontent, and the word is discontent. That, and particularly during the lockdowns too, we've seen the politicians just refused to listen to people, and refused to acknowledge people. Not even listen, just acknowledge people's belief or opinion, and just calling them anti-vax, far right, this, that, everything under the sun basically. But acknowledge what the actual people are saying. They say everything else, but they actually acknowledge something. That's different. As I say, with even the hate speech legislation, take for example, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of emails. I know one or two TDs that have been saying they're getting, I don't know, must be 100 emails a day, maybe phone calls and messages and stuff, proposed on the hate speech legislation. People utterly up in arms over it. And as they should be, because it is literally taking away your right to your freedom of speech. It's literally the one thing that is vital for democracy. Because if we don't have a free speech, you don't have anything, as we don't learn. And it can be abused, because we can see this government nowadays, they can't be trusted. Simple as that. And that's just to put it straight. Like, you just look around you at the moment, and you'll come to that realisation very, very quickly. It's not that I have a radical belief or into that. It's just that you simply can't trust them. Time and time again, the government has showed themselves to be wolves in sheep's clothing. They serve a few people in Davos. They don't serve the Irish people. They serve whatever the Davos executive says and whatever Brussels says, of course, but mainly Davos, of course. As Leo is a young leader of the World Economic Forum, obviously, excuse me. But we say no more on that. But in case YouTube to please, but. That'll be it for tonight. So yeah, let me know what you think. But it is the majority of the politicians' fault for this. Thank you.